it's deeply embarrassing to have an FBI search. Biden's officials are making the point that it is consensual, it's by mutual agreement, no search warrant necessary, because FBI agents had to pretty well force their way into Mar-a-Lago, where Donald Trump had hid his classified documents.
To the United States now, where the FBI is searching President Joe Biden's Delaware beach home as part of an investigation into classified documents. His attorney has said that the search was planned with the full support of the president and therefore a search warrant wasn't needed. We can talk to Sarah Baxter, who's director of the Marie Colvin Institute for International Reporting in New York. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, hello.
How much more do we know? And talk us through what you make of this explanation that there's really nothing to see here at all.
Well, that's what they want us to think from the Biden team. But of course, it's deeply embarrassing to have an FBI search. Biden's officials are making the point that it is consensual, it's by mutual agreement, no search warrant necessary, because FBI agents had to pretty well force their way into Mar-a-Lago, where Donald Trump had hid his classified documents. So that's the essential difference. But the sense that Biden was careless with classified documents is really growing apace. And the other important point is that Biden and his team have to hope that the FBI don't find anything at this beach house in Delaware, because critics are making a very important point, which is that this beach house, which is a lovely place in Rehoboth, right on the sort of shoreline, was bought after Biden left office. So it's not one of those sort of cases where he was stopping as vice president, officials bundle things together, send them here and there, to Biden's home or to Biden's think tank at the University of Pennsylvania, where other documents have already been found. This would be something that someone moved from somewhere else to the new beach house. And that, I know that sounds rather obscure, but actually that adds a whole new level of risk for Joe Biden about deliberately concealing classified documents.
It also plays into this narrative of his opponents, doesn't it? That he's just not across everything. He's doddery. He's not the kind of person that you could trust to go on forever and ever.
Well, yes, it does. It both the idea that he might have something to hide, or if he doesn't, that he really doesn't know what's going on under his own nose. And of course, that really is a narrative that is becoming increasingly important as we're getting closer to an announcement by Joe Biden that he intends to run for a second term in office. He's already the oldest president. And this really would be, really quite a stretch, because if he were to win, he'd be 86 at the end of his second term in office. So, yes, this is very inconvenient, and it totally fouls up the case for prosecuting Donald Trump, no matter how much Biden is willingly cooperating with the Department of Justice and the FBI, and Donald Trump isn't. The offence now begins to look rather trivial. The other thing is that Joe Biden has never really got ahead of events on this. Now, that also speaks to whether or not he's doing a great job, because Mike Pence, the former vice president, where, would you believe, more classified documents were found at his home, he got ahead of this by saying, I apologize, I take full responsibility, etc. Joe Biden is cooperating, but in a drag his feet kind of a way, and that doesn't look so good.
Yeah. Do you know what amazes me? Tiny thing that amazes me about all of these stories, Sarah, is the fact that there are just so many paper documents floating around. We're a digital world now. Why is so much still on paper, in folders and files that have ended up, shoved down toilets and in the back of cupboards?
You make a brilliant point there. You really do. I think one of the things is that actually governments don't really trust digital records, which have a tendency to leak en masse and are not considered all that secure, quite vulnerable to hacking. Plus, of course, not to mention the fact that, let's think about the age of the last two presidents, Donald Trump and Joe Biden. They are not creatures of the internet age.
It's terrible, isn't it? I mean, we're all laughing here, but we know what you mean. They've probably forgotten their passwords, haven't they, Sarah?
That's it. You've solved the mystery of why this stuff is here. But I don't think there was a terrible intent to hide stuff. It was much more that, stuff's lying around, it gets shoved into folders along with, family photos and other odds and ends. It's sort of like, I wouldn't particularly like the FBI to search my attic, or they wouldn't find classified material, but they would think, what the hell is this doing
They'll
here?
probably find an old pair of reading glasses that you've been searching for the last 6 years.
It's sort of half funny, and if this were a kind of, I don't know, a hat shop in Dorking, and I hope there aren't any listening, you could just about let it go. But this is the leader of the free world and the greatest democracy on the planet and the most powerful nation on the planet. And can we just take a moment to say that, can I just put it on record? I'm not sure an 86-year-old should be the leader of the free world.
Jane Garvey, I don't think you're the only person with that thought.
What do you think, Sarah?
I think it's, I don't think anyone really thinks an 86-year-old should be leader of the free world. The point is, who's the alternative? So what Joe Biden says is, don't vote for, the almighty, vote for the alternative. I.e., he thinks of himself as the alternative to Donald Trump. He may not be perfect, but he thinks he's the man that can beat Donald Trump. Can he? We don't know. Could he beat another Republican? We don't know either. But a lot of Democrats are sort of sucking it up and thinking, well, we might just have to hope that Joe Biden has some great advisors and that he can stagger on until 86, because the alternative, a second term for Donald Trump, is too frightening to contemplate for the Democrats. So there you go.
Sarah, it's lovely to talk to you. We'll talk again. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Sarah Baxter is director of the Marie Colvin Institute for International Reporting in New York.
That's what it's come down to, as Sarah says, if he can stagger on. Sleep well, everybody. Right, hope tonight's a peaceful one. Now,